Are you one of the many busy professionals working in offices day in and day out? Do you wonder how some people grow their wealth fast, retire early, and play on workdays? Well, you're in luck, because Ginny Bolling hosts this show, Pivot to Prosperity, where she interviews people that can do just that. Play on workdays. Many guests have become financially free. She also interviews people that are on their journey and people that are in support roles, like attorneys, contractors, brokers, and others. Commercial real estate is the common element. She is on a mission to be sure busy professionals know they can own substantial commercial properties too, like apartments, self-storage facilities, and others, and not have to do the work managing them. Passive investing is the key. Syndications are the typical method. Tax write-offs are some of the biggest rewards. Ginny and partners find the deals, build a strong team and business plan, then offer the investment opportunities to passive investors. New episodes are released every Tuesday at 12, so watch for new releases. If you want to get involved, let us know. You need to get pre-qualified to hear about most deals. See the show notes for contact information.
Hello. Ginny Bolling here with Pivot to Prosperity, brought to you by Pivotal Real Estate Investments. And today we have Greg Robeson here. And thank you, Greg, for coming on. I appreciate it.
You bet. Good to be here. Thank you.
I did not ask you if you have a bio to read, but since we chatted a little bit, I'm going to talk a little. I'm going to wing it. But I am really glad to have you come on, because I have had senior living as a very important part of my life with my parents and my ex-husband, actually, too. That got into a need for all kinds of different situations. And we didn't even get into the potential medical side of it and all, but you have a lot to share with us. So please tell us first, though, since you were so brave to go sell a furniture company and go on the road with your kids, tell us how that was and transition into where you're now.
Sure, that's a good question, and it lines up perfectly with what your name here is, Pivot to Prosperity. Our family was stuck in kind of a typical parochial rhythm, and I was running a furniture company, had a few employees here in St. Louis, and I was still doing nonprofit work, building youth programs for kids around the city, and did that for 10 years, and we were ready for a change that was an investment into the family. So the prosperity we were seeking at the time wasn't traveling the country to build big business. It was to immerse ourselves in each other, to make memories, to learn by doing. So if you homeschool your kids, you're always looking for opportunities to make things real, to get it off the page or off the screen and experience it. And road schooling, which is what we call it, is certainly a way to do that. So, my son, we were in Philadelphia, and he reached past the rope to touch the Liberty Bell. He'll never forget Philadelphia when the park ranger came over and told him you're not supposed to do that. But that's what I mean by immersion. We learned a little French in Montreal. We learned a little Spanish in Tijuana, and their gym classes are in the open ocean. It's a different immersion. It's a different way of learning. And we watched our kids prosper. We watched our family. My wife says I'm not the same person. It takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice to live out of an RV. It's a 45-foot rolling home that weighs 20,000 pounds. So we moved from resort to resort. My wife is a travel nurse, and so she had a little nursing hospital contracts around the country, and we would park it, and then we would go experience that part of the country kind of 3 months, 6 months at a time, and we did that for 4 years full time. But that life of commitment to doing hard things, to sacrifice, to letting go of comforts and conveniences that we're all used to, that wasn't easy. That was
Did you say you did that
there's
4
days.
years?
Yeah, that's right.
Holy moly. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I've just finished a book writing about it. It's not past the publisher yet, but in there I'm talking about a time when we were stuck on the side of the highway. My wife had flown ahead to Denver, and we caught wind in Kansas driving across country, and the awning of this RV extended on the highway at 60 miles an hour, which turned into a sail. And so we end up on the side of the highway. I'm on the side of the highway alone with 5 kids, young kids, trying to figure out how to power the generator on to use power tools to remove this thing. These things test you. They're moments. You can be like, did I keep my kids safe? Did I? But then was I present? Did this challenge, did I pay attention to my kids and how they were feeling? Because it was scary. It was
And did you
windy,
keep your cool?
Yeah. That's level one is did you swear and curse and act the fool? But then level two is like, was I able to do this hard thing and still love my family? And that's a deep mirror. So the whole experience, and if you've lived on the road, then there's a different set of challenges. It's not brick and mortar. You're going to learn about yourself and you're going to learn about your family and you're going to learn about how you did business, and it's going to redefine some things. So it was a real pivot to prosperity for us. And then all the while I was in real estate while traveling, but I was able to manage all my Airbnbs or, like short-term rentals and single family homes from the road. And while my wife was doing these nursing contracts,
So
but we were looking
how many rentals were you managing at that time?
just five,
Five.
and
Okay.
then and then 5 single family homes and 3 vacation rentals down in Florida. But those are easy to manage. Those are self-managed. And so small stuff, small passive income, but um, and so this was all happening while we're traveling. We're trending away from short-term rentals into the senior space. So while we're traveling and living in all these different parts of the country, we're paying attention to that sector, to senior living, and we were introduced to resident assisted living, RALs. There's an academy to learn about that. And so what drew me to it and is this transition while we were traveling was the margins. You look per door margin about being a traditional landlord or the LP or vacation rentals, and then you compare that to the margins in the senior space. And that was the initial pull. So people ask me all the time, what really brought you to this space? And it was the ROI is what brought me. But then God did something pretty cool. He used my old nonprofit ministry heart to serve people, young people for a long time, and merge that with the real estate experience. And so I was introduced to my pivotal person, Bob DeClue, in St. Louis, who was already pounding the pavement for RELs. And then that's when there was this supernova of, wow, this is meant to be. And so it changed from chasing margins to doing something beautiful for the city, using my unique abilities to build something that serves people. And that's when we encountered the chronic need. The senior space, all real estate is predatory. It can be, right? It can be. It's a place of vulnerability and ignorance, and people step into that space for themselves, not to serve. And senior is the worst. I think they're the most vulnerable of the population, and it's that critical moment when they're in transition is difficult. And there's a lot of folks stepping into that space not to serve, but to chase their own profit margins. They're maybe even subconsciously, they're just they if you have high margins in a field, it's going to aggregate people, right? People are going to come at that as an opportunity to invest. And if that's all you see is an opportunity to use people's situation to profit, then what kind of value are you returning? What do you really, yeah, okay, good job. You made some money. That's a good business goal, but at what expense? And that's what I was encountering, was a very predatory sector of real estate. And I became fired up to change that. And that's what Harmony Homes is, which is I'm a partner with Bob and 3 others. And we've launched that a year ago. And so we're about $1 million in right now to a $3 million raise. And we're building, we have 3, our sister company has 3 buildings up already. 2 are operational. The third's almost done. And we're building taking ground down to build building number 4 and 5, all because of this fire in the belly to change the way that we care for our origin, our prosperity, like our posterity, rather, uh, our
Fingers.
where we came from,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The moms and dads of the world and
that's
whatnot
right.
too, right? Grandmas and grandpas. So, and So is there, what level, you've talked about, you mentioned the certificate of need is needed for these. You're not doing independent living then, right? Can
That
you
not
talk a
yet. Yeah,
little to
that's
that? Talk a little to
yeah,
that.
yeah. Independence down the road, we'd like to, but there's bigger margins in assisted living, and so we need to build the profit side before we build the nonprofit side. So if you just look at the number of houses, the buildings that we have currently that take care of seniors, and you look at the way we're aging, this is not rocket science. Like just look at how many seniors there are right now and how many there will be in 10 years. Look at how many senior homes there are right now, regardless of how they're structured and the rate at which we can we're so upside down, just supply and demand, just on the real estate side, just on the buildings. Now if you compound that with the care side, when the majority of the buildings that take care of seniors in our country aren't caring, like we call it senior care, but the reality is there's no care, there's just senior. And they smell like they do for a certain reason, and that's a lack of care. So the certificate of need, or the CON, is what you have to apply for state by state. And you have to basically make your case to the state to say, we have a lack of beds, we have a lack of buildings, we have a lack based on the number of people in need and the facilities able to take care of them. There's ways to fudge those numbers. And unfortunately, some of the bigger, what we call big box guys in the business, they go to the state and they have ways to artificially inflate the bed counts and things like that to squeeze out little guys like us that building these RAL, these resident assisted living. So our model is much different. Rather than an 80 to 120 bed facility, which is what most people think of, I think, when they think senior living, they think of a big motel reno or new construction. And one of our partners who shares our values, actually, our core values here in St. Louis, has a 114 bed facility. It's wonderful. But one of the downsides to that is the distance. So if you ask our doctors and nurses or anybody in geriatric who really has their head screwed on straight, they're all going to tell you the same thing. My wife's an RN. She runs a hospital, but anybody you ask, they're all going to say, if you really dig in with medical professionals, you say, what's the greatest detriment to our senior population? What's killing them? What's ruining their quality of life? Pardon me. It's not Alzheimer's. It's not heart disease. It's not cancer. It's loneliness and isolation. So to build a center, just think about that for a second. You build a building, just the real estate side, build a building designed to take care of seniors. It's got 100 beds and there's someone living on the fourth floor. My sister lives in one of these centers in Colorado. I go visit her every year. She's on the third floor. Without help, it takes her 12 minutes to get to the poker game. Do you want your mom staying in a building where it's 12 minutes to bingo and they have to wait for someone to help them get 12 minutes to get to, that's
I've been through that.
ridiculous.
I've seen it. Yep.
That's terrible. And that's just bingo, I mean, so anyway, so we're building these resident assisted, they're single floor, 16 bed. This is our model. And it's 16 bedrooms built in the round. No one's further than 15 feet from the heart of activity. Now, if isolation's what's harming our seniors, then what's the solution? From a real estate side, I'm the investor guy, but I want to invest in things that solve the problem. Well, that's got to be intimacy. What's the solution to isolation? The problem, isolation. Solution, intimacy. I mean, they walk out of their room. We're not encouraging them to stay in the room and close their door. We don't hire RNs and activity directors that encourage the isolation so they can play on their phone. We hire people that are mission-minded, they get it, and they're encouraging the seniors to come out, to be in the center of the home, which is what we're building, is homes. And whether that's, hey, can I help you clip your toenails or help you with your medicine or whatever, let's play a game together. They're right there in the heart of the home and they're interacting with the other residents and our staff. So see, we're solving the problem. We make ourselves part of the solution. We've critically identified the problem and we've got our build and our fund and our core values all built around that pain point. And there's nobody in the country doing it like us.
So you have to continue talking about those other entities that you have that take care of that. That's amazing what you have in place. Go ahead, would you?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So what we've done is intuit the pain point. We call it the transition point. So as people are aging and they can't use their home anymore, maybe it's a two-story. Maybe the they need a little more. There's a mobility issue, and the bathroom does not constructed in a way that's helpful for bathing. Maybe there's not a ramp to get in the home. Whatever you can imagine the kinds of things from just a construction side, a mechanical side of the home serving the person who lives in it. Kids are grown, empty nest. My mom, this house doesn't work anymore. So we come into the home under that banner. So one of our companies, one of our verticals is trusted transitions. So we've got multiple verticals. We built companies around all the pain points. So if someone goes out and types and comes in through that funnel, they're trying to find people to buy that house, liquidate that house. And we are the team. All of our partners are in real estate. We've positioned ourselves in the market to be able to liquidate that house or turn it into an asset that pays for their care. Another vertical is a company called Caring Transitions. This is another pain point. So like I said, we've stepped into this moment of transition and said, what are the most difficult things that are overwhelming for a family with an aging senior? What are those problems so that we can build good, ethical, conscientious business around the pain and try to be a part of this. That's what good businesses should do for any city, right? Any part of the world. And that next point is all my stuff. So look at I don't need this cup anymore. I don't need this stuff. My kids don't want it. I don't want to store it. So we purchased a franchise called Caring Transitions, and we have the monopoly on it in St. Louis. But this is a great model, and we are able to liquidate all their stuff. And it's about a 50%, 50-50 deal, and the franchise gets a cut. But the point is, the seniors are buying convenience. We're there to serve, and we're not going, wow, look at all that. That's a Spanish import. I'm going to make so much money off this estate. We're there to try to use that estate to get those seniors the most they can. This is their legacy. This is 40 years, 2 generations, maybe sometimes of stuff. Maybe they've got some valuables they had no idea were worth that. Our goal is to uncover that value and then get maximum at market. Why? So that we get paid the most? No, because we're there to serve, because they need, and we're the business they can trust. And so we're gonna liquefy that estate, we're gonna make it liquid, and we're gonna get the max. We're gonna represent them, and then they can use that money to pay for their care. So we've got the vertical Caring Transitions to deal with the estate contents. We've got the vertical Trusted Transitions to deal with the assets, boat houses, vacation houses, or just the primary home, and liquidate those. And we've got moving subsidiaries. So basically every pain point in the moment of transition, our doctors and nurses will come in and help assess care needs. What is it? Are you independent living? What is it that you really need? And then sometimes they'll place with us, and that's the Harmony Homes flag. So the Harmony Homes flag is the new construction. We're building all over the city of St. Louis for now. We're building pods of 5 homes, depending on what parcel of land we buy. 5 of these 16-bedroom ranch homes, and we'll try to put people together based on similar likes. Maybe it would be faith or culture or language or food or ethnicity, but as best you can, right? 16-bedroom home, you want shared values as best you can. And but that's what we're building, is homes in pods. So we're able to share services. Our activity directors, our admin staff, our RNs we're able to share services between these pods. So we'll buy about a 5 to 7 acre plot and then move on to another part of the city, so that you, with your parents as they age, can be proximal. They can be close to your home. We don't want to have just one big center in one part of the city, drive to us. We're trying to build them all over the place. So there you go. That's the different verticals that are meeting all the pain points of a senior in transition.
Let's be clear too. The family doesn't live in the 16-bedroom home. You're just putting them different places so that proximity wise, it's doable to be part of your.
That's right. So our resident assisted living is 16-bedroom ranch. So it's a family of 16 families. So the kids come and visit and all that. And so it's a bustling center of activity. But no, not the whole family doesn't move in. It's not a family compound, which is a great model. There's people buying plots of land and building homes for the whole family. This is, and there's a farm in the middle. That's a different model. I love that model, but that's not us. So this is a place where you would put one or both of your parents, and they would live with other seniors in community who have a similar need level. Right. You got it.
So
Thanks for
it'd
that
be
distinction.
16 seniors in a 16 bedroom generally.
That's
Okay.
right.
And
Yep.
how many activities of daily living are they usually in need of?
How many activities you mean, like social and so forth?
Well, dressing, how many things do you
Oh,
actually need assistance with typically?
sure. Well, that's diverse. So in a resident assisted living, which what you'll find how it's distinct is you go to a big box place for just try go to admissions and talk about the level of need. You get nickel and dimed to death.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, you need nails clipped? Okay, that's an extra 500 a month. Oh, I didn't realize you were going to need. And resident assisted living is different. It's one flat rate for everybody, and that's memory care. It's the whole diversity of care. We're not upcharging people. These are human beings, and our care fluctuates anyway. Like our need level fluctuates with our health. Sometimes people's need level goes off the chart, and they might need skilled nursing for a while, so they might move out. And some people move out the other way into independent. This is assisted living. So it starts here with independent living, then assisted living, then skilled nursing is the highest, and then hospice is end of life, right? So,
Right.
but
But you don't get
we're
into
at
all
that.
of those. You only get
No,
into
that's
assist.
right. We're just assisted living right now. So down the line, we would like to start a nonprofit division for independent living. It's in our vision, but right now we have to build this. So this is a $170 million development for 55 homes in the city of St. Louis. That's our 10-year plan.
That's terrific.
You got it. Yeah.
And just to recapture that one more time, just to see if it is fitting with what a lot of people's common knowledge is. Assisted living is basically people that need varied levels of assistance, but they can at least transition from a bed to a wheelchair or to a chair, whatever.
You
But
got
they
it. Yeah, because when you get to the point when you need a lift out of bed, you're getting to that skilled nursing
yeah.
level. And so this is that level above independent living. How many different kinds of services? You asked that question to open up that segment, and it's hard to say. Some people, two. Some people, six. How many times different types of activities, because if we're talking about I'm having a hard time remembering my kids' names, that's a way to help. Hey, I'm reminding you, your family's coming, and the youngest kid, his name's Joey. Remember? That's a service. You're involved in their families. So a lot of it is small stuff, but it's the small things that matter the most. So it's hard to
Right.
say on average.
So, and then going back to one other thing you said briefly there, you'd said that it was the margins that made a difference. Now, most people that are into short-term rentals and vacation homes have a pretty good margin anyway. So can you give kind of a rough idea of what kind of margin difference you're talking about from one to the other for assisted living?
Yeah, sure. Do you mean the return margin?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the way I remember it as I went through it, and the way that, it's not, these aren't exact, but a traditional landlord is going to make a certain amount per door. Traditionally, you're going to be involved in your tenants' lives. They're going to call you when there's repairs and so forth. Then an Airbnb and certain STR markets are going to 2x a traditional landlord. So it's a way to use maybe the same property and get a higher return, but you have to bring in often a broker like Airbnb or some other, and now for the same investment you're making a little bit more per door. So that's why those markets, those STR markets, are pretty. There's other ways to do that. I do a lot of LP, so my company works as a bank for families that can't qualify for lending, and we put them in basically a sale of a home with a delayed closing. It's a lease purchase, but and then when you move into assisted living, in general, an assisted living door is going to 5x a STR door. So
Really?
that's the margin I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're cash flowing 1,000 a month on a property through an STR market, you're looking, if you could translate it exactly, which you can't, because most STR building, most STRs are, what, a 5-bed or something like that. I've got
Yeah,
my
that's a big
smallest is a
difference.
3-bed. Yeah, and where I'm talking about a 16-bed. But yeah, so instead of 1,000 a month, now we're talking about 5,000 a month that you're cash flowing off that same door. But you have to do the math that you're talking about a 5-bed versus but it's
Yeah,
not that hard
yeah.
to figure out. So it's a
Yeah,
significant margin.
definitely that economy of scale. When I looked into it probably 5 years ago, I think 6 years ago, when Raoul was around, it hit me. I think the minimum size was 9 beds to profit at all, really. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
16 is probably a great number.
Yeah, and we
Because
need to be, I think our break even point on the 12 beds is 70% full. So we've got 3 12-bed units, and when we hit that 70% full, we above that is cash flow is your margin. So if you're
okay,
under so if you have a 10 bed and you've got 6 full, you're approaching break even. So that gives you an idea.
yeah,
But like our price point is here in this market is 8,000 a month. That's the average, right? So our Harmony Homes banner, we're coming a little bit under that. We're about 15% under market, but that's an average for assisted living that you're going to see in this Midwest market is about 8K per. So you do the math. If you've got a 16 bed and it's 8,000 per room per month, you
yeah.
can, you
And you
can
said that's
quickly.
a Harmony price, 8,000 a bed?
We're about 15% under market. I was just telling you
That's
what
what I
the
thought you
average
said. Okay.
is. Yeah, the average here. So we're probably our Aspen Valley partners. I think they come in just under 7K, and then the Harmony we're going to be just north of 7,000 a month. But so we're a little bit. We're just trying to position ourselves. It's hard. That's a lot. That's a lot. And so we're trying to do whatever we can. One, to elevate the care. So that's hiring the right people, creating the culture in the business, places that people really want to work because they feel like their unique abilities are pressed into service. You create a you define service and care differently. But then also, so you're investing a little bit more on the front end, but we're also charging a little bit less on the back end. So but there's room there. There's room. We're trying to are we serving families or are we building we we fattening the pocket of the partners? You do have to make a profit. We're running a business
You have
here.
to be able to do both and do it well. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're sensitive to the price point. And let's face it, the legacy in this country. Just think about this. When's the last time you heard someone say these words? And I'll challenge you on this. I personally have never heard anybody say these words in any part of the country, and I've been all over. We're paying X dollars per month to have mom in assisted living. And let me tell you, the food is exceptional. The service, it's like it's like Cheers. Everybody knows her name. I would pay double. I would pay triple because it's that valuable to my family. I love my mom, and what we pay, it's worth every penny. Never heard that spoken ever. I'm aiming to change that. Harmony Homes is aiming to change that.
That's great. That's fantastic too. So tell people how they can reach you.
Sure. I'm Greg at livewithharmony.com. So reach out to me directly. If this sounds, that's my email address. If this sounds like something that you want to be involved with, maybe you want to learn more about it. Maybe you'd like to start moving in the direction of being the solution to this crisis in maybe you're in a part of the country that doesn't have assisted living, isn't answering the problem in the way that I've defined here. Reach out to me. We're not ready to export or franchise, but we do want to partner and we want to come along other companies and people who are sharing our core values, that they're mission minded. They've intuited this just like we have, and we want to help. So we're here to serve. We're building something beautiful for St. Louis, but we're here to serve you if you share our heart too. So Greg at livewithharmony.com is my email.
Terrific, terrific. And as far as your pivotal person, do you want to let Bob know that you nominated him, or should I?
Either way.
Okay.
That's right. I kind of stole the thunder there, didn't I? Yeah.
That's okay. But
So,
yeah, no,
yeah.
that's all right. I think that's wonderful, especially if he's a partner that you're working with now too. That makes it really a nice thing. And so
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
reach
He
out.
was the
I'll
one with the
surprise him.
vision. Yeah, he captured me and his vision stole my heart and he was part of the process of moving from margins to people. So
I love
thanks
what you're
to
doing.
Bob.
And I lead a women's group of investors and serve on another committee too. And there's so many people that really care about this issue. And most of
Hmm.
us are close to it ourselves too. And some of us are more capable than others, but we really need to help each other, you know, and I love that you were in youth ministry and you're bringing the senior together. I think that's a fantastic thing too. And so you're going to
Oh,
do great. I know. And so we're going to be
uh,
staying in touch.
thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Our our website is livewithharmony.com too. I didn't mention that. I
Yes.
gave
Oh,
out
yeah.
my personal, but
Oh, and we're going to put,
www.livewithharmony.com.
yeah, and we'll put that in the show notes. And I would love to get from you some pictures or renderings that we can link in too. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Good.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah. No
Thank
problem.
you
This was
very
fun.
much.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for doing what you're doing in the community.
Oh, you're welcome.